Welcome everybody, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever it is you are in the world. It's Sunday for me here in the UK, and that means it's time to round out the MRL week here, starting off with APAC division. Joining me as always is Seb. Seb, how are you doing today?
Fairly well. How are you yourself, Unicorn?
Yep, not too bad, not too bad. Very excited to see how this one goes. It's going to feel like a very short race for me and anyone who watched that Vietnamese endurance race yesterday. But today we've got APAC division around Belgium, a very, very iconic track. 20 turns. We are going to see plenty of drama around here, I imagine, today. We've got 2 DRS zones as well. So plenty of overtaking opportunity here at this track. Let's have a quick look at the standings as well. We've got Ben the Bear in that Mercedes sitting pretty at the top, 257 points ahead of Mikhail, 225 points for the Australian driver behind him. Captain of Gold in the other Mercedes, third with 135. Then Remco Van Putten in the Red Bull, 118 points. Then there's a fairly big gap to P5. Trin in 5th, Panda in 6th, Emzo sits in 7th, combined in 8th. The other McLaren of Cello in 9th. A very close battle between those 3, with Eccentric in 10th with 41 points and Stars on 38 points, not too far behind in that AlphaTauri. T-Mac and Shrimp, the 2 Haas drivers, in 12th and 13th respectively. Sid, he hasn't been here for very long, but he's already 14th with 24 points to his name. Rez in 15th, just taking over in that Red Bull seat from PTR. And we have Yukio in the Racing Point. Matt and Sanisi, the other drivers here. And we're just about ready to get going in this race. The qualifying session, you'll be here for that, Seb, and then we'll be handing the candle to Bitto for the race.
Yeah, that's correct. I just got a bit of a sore throat, so much appreciated to Biddo, but he's very knowledgeable and he's great to listen to when he talks.
Well, there we go. We've finally got the game showing there. The short qualifying session loading. Only, I think, 12 drivers today. Not a huge check-in for APAC, unfortunately, but as we load in,
we just had a couple pull out last minute for certain reasons that they have.
Apparently it's going to rain. It is very cloudy here in qualifying. Although apparently everyone's on the intermediate tyres. I wonder whether you could sneak in a soft run quickly. I don't see rain on the track yet.
And neither do I. I'm just getting the raindrops as well. But it is Spa. It's a very long track. A beautiful track at that, but it's very long. It does take a while to get around the track. So maybe Inters might be the best bet. Just make use of these conditions.
Well, a few drivers now starting to get their cars into gear. Maybe we'll get a better view of sort of the conditions when we get on board with someone on track. Looks like one of the Renaults. It's not Sid, it's Simdogger reserving today in that Renault. So scoring points for the Pirates because it is raining on the track. And there is a little spray coming off that car, so definitely going to be intermediate, like you said, a very long lap around here. So by the time we get back to that start-finish line, as Simdogger cuts turn 5 coming out of Eau Rouge. And according to Freeware, the weather forecast for the race is a start on heavy rain and then drying up towards the tail end of the 22-lap campaign that we'll see in just a moment, but only a few drivers coming out of the pit lane right now, and it's an interesting call, Seb, in terms of what sort of setup these drivers put on. Do you go for a full wet setup to take advantage of that early rain, intermediates here in qualifying, or do you risk it, go for dry? It's not raining that heavily right now here in qualifying. And it's drying up towards the end of the race. It's all a bit of a gamble when it comes to this sort of conditions.
Yeah, well, personally, hearing that it's a heavy rain race going into dry and there being a wet qualifying, I'd probably lean my setup more to a wet setup just to make use of that qualifying session. But, yeah, It's a very interesting one. We'll see. We might see a bit of mixed setups, so that could definitely come to play later on in this session, or this APAC race, I should say, as we'll see them kind of concentrating up in that dry part of the race if we do have it, and we'll see how the DRS zones act, how straight line is for these drivers, and we'll get probably a better idea of setup then.
Well, here we go. The first flying lap coming out of Simdogger in that reserve seat, coming down now to turn 1. Getting out of there fairly cleanly. And now flying down towards the all-famous Eau Rouge Rodillion complex of corners 3, 4, and then 5. But it's a big slide, a big spin. He's not retired the car, but he has lost an end plate.
He's got to be careful now rejoining. There's a Red Bull that's going to come through. And he does his due diligence to let that Red Bull go by of Remco. And yeah, Eau Rouge and Radion are very difficult in the wet. You can easily lose it, especially with a oversteery setup, as you so often see in this game. It's the fastest way to get around these tracks and fastest way to get around Spa.
Well, we'll see what Remco can do. We've already had one problem there, and this is just intermediate conditions. It's only going to get worse at the start of that race, it sounds like, so fingers crossed. We'll see some sort of improvement coming out of him. Just, it's a fairly easy place to make a mistake. You can see Remco having a problem, as there appears to be some sort of issue with the stream. I am trying to fix it, so bear with us, everyone. I appreciate you letting me know. Remco Van Putten now coming down into the bus stop chicane, and he will open up qualifying as he comes out of the last corner, a little bit shaky on exit. It's a 153.144 from the Red Bull.
Been the bear. 1.3 seconds faster. Expect these times to fall down as long as rain stays relatively similar in terms of levels of rain. Then we should see these times fall down. We will see a lot of long running from these guys to just try to find some rhythm, find some momentum, and just find where their grip is, as well as getting used to their cars and the setups.
And there goes Enzo in the McLaren. We'll see what he can do. 153 flat from him, his teammate Cello. Bit of a slide coming through Full-On. And these drivers really struggling with the conditions right now. Going through into Sector 3 now. Oh, a big slide through turn 16. He's kept it out of the wall. But that's a huge slide for the McLaren driver.
DRS enabled Unicorn. Wow. And the rain stopped as well, from the looks of it.
Yeah, and Sid's just going to come straight back into the pit lane. Got to take advantage of this quickly. You want to get in, get out onto the soft tyres. You can see there already Mikau. I think that's why we didn't see a huge uptake in terms of who we saw come out of the pit lane. They saw the weather report, realised it's going to dry up. A little bit risky, and just in case it doesn't, you want to get that outlap out. So we'll see who can set what, as we've got... No, we've still got a couple of drivers out there on track right now, but I think they're just both going to hop into the pit lane. As you can see now, just more soft tyres coming out of that pit lane. We'll just see when the first driver actually leaves.
Sandeezy right now. It's MP5's on the track. Gone through Puon. He's really struggling for grip. So if you didn't think the rain stopping in DRS enabling was allowing for this soft running now, well, you should now.
Well, it's definitely time for the softs. You can see Simdogger, we saw him have a problem earlier in the session on the intermediates. Now on the softs, we'll see whether he can get anything better here. And this, again, adds into that. What setup? Well, now they'll have picked one. At least most of them will have done, who have been out on track. But if you picked a wet setup now in this dry bit of qualifying, this might where you lose out to that decision.
Yeah, well, you'd think that he'd have a dry setup, just judging from the way he took Radion and Eau Rouge in that one hot lap we saw where we spun it. But we'll see. This track should really ramp up by the end of the session. Obviously, we've gone from a wet track when it was raining, and now it's drying up a bit. It should definitely warm up by the time we reach the end of this 9 minutes remaining in this session.
Yeah, absolutely. Lap time should start crumbling down now that we've got that soft compound tyre onto the cars.
I'm a bit worried about how slow Sim's going through his lap. It's just, I mean, he's keeping it in 8th gear, probably trying to save fuel. But you know, these are the softs. They should ramp up very quickly, as Bido has joined the chat. They should ramp up very quickly, although you kind of need them alive, especially for La Source, because that is all of Sector 1 right there. One corner of La Source.
Yeah, well, here he goes. He's going to start the first flying lap we've seen on the soft compound tyres in this Renault, reserving here tonight now through turn 1. And tyre temperatures not really costing him any trouble through there, so whatever he was doing on that lap seems to have worked for him now through turn 2 into 3, 4, and now 5 through Rouge and Radillion. Flying now into the DRS section down the Kemmel Straight. Flying down towards Lecom, turn 7 through 8, and now 9. This is looking much more composed than we saw him on the intermediate tyres. Now down into turn 10 he comes. Still just looking very, very controlled from the Renault driver. Again, using all of the exit there. Just making sure to keep all of his wheel, or at least some of his wheels, across that white line so as not to invalidate his lap. Nice and quick through Fuon as well to keep this lap well and truly alive. 13, 14. Now flying down into 15. A little bit of an invalidation can be possible there. It's not the case for Simdogger. He uses all of the exit curb. It's a very fine margin. Now as he flies through Blanchimont into 18. Now all of this flat out, of course, as he runs down towards the bus stop chicane. Turns 19 and 20. There's the first corner. There's the second. The traction out of here is very important. He's had a bit of a mishap, but he's still to the line, and it's a 1:43 flat, and there is 8.8 seconds faster than our previous provisional pole. Still 6.5 minutes to go.
It's nice to get a good lap out here. See what happens from here on out. See how the times fall down as Mikau best lap by 1.3 seconds. And we should just see these times tumble down now. This track will, as I said before, ramp up.
Well, here's the man who was the fastest on those intermediates. Ben the Bear comes out of the final corner. What has he got in the tank here at Spa? It's a 1:40.5, 1.2 seconds faster than Mikhail's time. Cello, a 1:41.5. Those times are starting to just crumble. Nico Van Putten, he invalidated his first soft run. We'll see whether he can do a little bit better here. He seems to have, you know, a little bit of confidence in that wet weather. He was the first out on track, or one of the first. First set of flying lap time in the session with Simdogger's incident.
I think we're getting a bit of sun now. Getting a bit of sun now, Unicorn. Sun is shining here in the Ardennes of Belgium.
Well, it's just good news for the drivers. Just makes these conditions much more comfortable, much easier to drive for them. Like you said, it's just the sun is just starting to poke its head through the clouds. It's Remco van Putten flying through sector 2. Oh, that's very wide. He manages to keep it valid, and he's going 9.2 seconds faster than his previous best. There's Simdogger, a little bit of a tow, but nothing that's going to make a huge difference. Through 18 now, down towards the chicane to round out his lap time. It's still valid for him. Sandeezy, he ups into P2 at 141.4. Now, here comes Remco van Putten out of the final corner. What can he do? To the line, it's only good for a 141.8. So still a few tenths off of
Enzo's
leaders, and then Ben the Bear's just in a world of his own.
Yeah, well, Enzo just got a massive tow from his teammate Cello. Nice big tow that should help him a lot here, but he doesn't go that fast. He's one of the last people to set their laps of the laps that are on the board so far, and he's 10th behind Remco.
Yeah, combined just crossed into 6th, the 141.7. It's just in between Mikkel and Captain of Gold there. Very competitive. Matt, he's not happy with his lap time. He's going to pull it straight back to the pit lane. Sid, he's flying in the Renault. Again, taking a lot of the outside cut, but he's down on his time. So I don't know if this is an in-lap or what, but it's got that fuel warning light on, so I don't think he'll be going again unless that's a visual glitch there. I don't think it is. I don't think this is going to be his best time in the session. Well,
it doesn't look like a fast lap either. So he's just gone for a really fast in lap, I guess. He's got the hot lap on everything.
Rez, I think he might be on an active flyer right now in the Red Bull. He's had a few invalidation problems. He's still not got a time on that board in the Red Bull. Not coming through full on. We'll see what he's got. You can see he's got a lap on the board there, but he's still not got the fuel warning light. So he's got enough for fuel, or right on cue. There it is. So he should have enough fuel to get him to the line if he does indeed choose to go through with this flyer. You've got Ben, Cello, Mick out, all back out on out laps. Captain of Gold as well. Rest now coming through for Shimon into 18. Into the bus stop chicane now for Rez. In his first full-time drive here for Red Bull. To the line. Where can he put himself? 7th place at 141.8. And it is very close in between, sort of from Mikkel to Remco right now. Those 4-5 drivers in that time slot, they're all within a couple of tenths of one another right now. Ben still quite far ahead of the pack. Mikkel, he'll be the next to start a flyer.
Yeah, just as you mentioned, before I was going to, it's very close here, but with these final runs, we could see a bit of a jig up in this grid.
Well, here we go. Mikkel, he's starting a flyer behind him. Ben the Bear, Captain of Gold as well, not too far behind either of them. And these three are championship leaders. Remco van Putten's called it quits in the pit lane, and it's fairly early to do so, but given the length of this track, there's no way he could get out for another lap. So this is the final runs for most of these drivers. As you can see now, more retirements coming through in the pit lane, but it's Mikkel down into Les Cons. The fastest sector one, apparently, according to the track map. We'll see whether that one stands, as Ben the Bear has just crossed that timing line. But it's a 140.5 to beat. It's 1.2 seconds Mikkel needs to find, but the conditions now are much better than they were when that first soft lap came down, and especially compared to the intermediate conditions that we started this qualifying session on. That was just 17 minutes ago. Mikau almost losing the rear through Fuon. He manages to maintain car control, using the curbs to his advantage here as he comes through 13, 14 now into 15. And again, look at the time, nearly 7/10 up just through the first 2 sectors alone. There's time to be found in this final sector as well with that chicane. But right now, it's not going to be enough to beat Ben the Bear. This needs to be some sort of miracle final sector. It could see him, though, comfortably into P2 ahead of Sandeezy, who has crossed the line. He has caught the checkered flag. Here goes Mikau to the line then. And there it is, P2, a 141 flat. Ben the Bear, well, he's caught it into the pit lane. What can Captain of Gold do? P8 right now for the Mercedes driver. He's been performing very well this season. A few missed races hurting him in the championship. It's P4 on 141.556. Cello now. He's got to run to the line. And there he goes to P3 on 141.438. Just 200ths ahead of Sandeezy. And Sid's in the wall. Sid has crashed his Renault coming out of Fuon.
Yeah, that's either dropped it on the inside curb or he has dropped it on the exit curb. Going a bit wide and maybe losing it there. That's the 2 most common things that can happen at Fuon.
Either way, very, very unfortunate. Matt with no end plates. He's going to limp it to the line. But I don't know what caused that damage there. For Matt, he qualifies P12. And there we are. That wraps up qualifying for the APAC Belgian Grand Prix. We'll be having that 50% race in just a moment. We've got Ben the Bear on pole, half a second clear of his championship rival Mikau Cello in the McLaren P3. Sandeezy and Captain of Gold round out the top 5. Then Sid, combined YouTuber Rez, Remco Van Putten and Emzo in the top 10. And then Sindogger and Matt failing to get themselves into those point scoring positions. But I believe, Seb, that is where we're bidding you farewell and bringing in Mr. Alex Biddo.
That is indeed. You all have a lovely day, evening, or whatever time it is for you guys, and I'll leave you to good old Biddo and Unicorn.
Well, thank you as always, Seb. Alex, welcome. You joined us as the rain starts to pummel down here in Belgium. How are you doing today? Any expectations? You've seen a few of these APAC division races now. Any expectations going into this one?
Well, I didn't know it was going to be on wet conditions in the beginning, so this is a huge, of course, surprise for me. Well, with this rain pouring down, I think it will be an amazing race to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a little bit of the changeable conditions. We're going from full wet to apparently dry at the end. We've just seen qualifying do a similar thing from intermediates to complete sun. So we'll see what sort of conditions we get hit with here in Belgium, but we're getting ready for that formation lap. 12 drivers on the grid, and you can see there that the predicted pit stop strategy is saying wet to wet, a 1 or a 2 stop. I imagine if that is what we're going to go for in terms of conditions, if it's wet all the way throughout, everyone's just going to do a 1 stop without wing changes, safety cars, etc. But right now, that track is completely soaked. There is standing water absolutely everywhere. And that is going to make this a very, very tricky race for these guys to get around. It's going to make a difficult circuit. You know, Eau Rouge, you can lose it through there easily. A few of these curbs are out to get you. And with this full wet, Alex, I think it's going to just make that even worse.
Sindago, I think it is on the chat, saying that no stops can be done if you can stay on the full wets. I mean, the weather condition, if it stays on full wets, probably the tire wear on this compound should be not that high, so you probably can do those 22 laps on the same compound. We will see, because if I'm not mistaken, this should be a wet to dry race, so probably these drivers will have to change to intermediates before to change to probably softs or even mediums.
Yeah, and it's a tricky, you know, when you get that sort of dynamic, it's a tricky crossover point. Maybe a little bit easier than the other way around, going from starting on slicks to going to the wets, but as it stands right now, we're going to be going the other way, drying up throughout the race. But that intermediates, the switch between wets and intermediates can be very difficult to nail, because if the rain stops, it's not going to be too long until the slicks come into play. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But our grid right now, Ben the Bear on pole, Mikau behind him, Cello, Sandeezy, Captain of Gold, Sid, combined YouTuber, Rez, Remco Van Putten, Emzo, Simdogger, reserving for Renault, and then Matt rounds out the grid in the Alfa Romeo. If you're just joining us, welcome. It's Sunday, which means it's time to round out the MRL's week action. This week, we've been going around Belgium, the APAC division, our last Formula 1 race here on Twitch. We'll have F2 tonight over on the YouTube channel. A big shout out to everyone watching at home, and a big shout out as well to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, wheel stand, motion sim, that kind of piece of equipment, check them out on their website. They've got an entry point for all levels of racers, and we'd be greatly appreciative if you do so. The link is in the chat or the panels down below. But everyone getting ready on this grid. You can see that Matt taking his final spot in 12th place. And it won't be too long until we see the lights here on in Belgium. We've got 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Spa. And away we go then for the Belgian Grand Prix. Who's got the best getaway? Mikau's had a pretty good lightning start off the line. He's going to be side by side with Ben the Bear down into turn 1. I don't think there's going to be too much that he could do from that position, though. Combined YouTuber, he's been overtaken by Rez through turn 1, and Rez, in his first full-time drive, is having an excellent start to this race. He is already up 2 positions compared to where he started. Simdogger, he is dropping in that reserve capacity. He is down to 11th place where he started, but he did get a move off of the line. Meanwhile, we've got Sid, Cello, and Rez and Captain all fighting out for positions. Captain, he had a pretty poor start. He's looking to get a couple of these places back now, a little bit deep as they come down into Les Combes. Where is Rez? I think he's all the way off the track. You can see there, Rez behind Remco, combined to Emzo. Emzo looking to try and get past the Ferrari.
This is a very, very close start between these drivers. Now Remco on the inside on blue shells, on Captain Gold is up into P6. I think Captain is suffering a little bit there on those wet conditions, but Rez was boxed in on Les Combes and he had to actually leave the throttle to leave Captain Gold there and not having any contact with Sid, who is right now up into P5. He was not able to overtake Cello, and at the moment he will sit there behind the McLaren.
Very hectic start. Everyone still pretty tightly knit together. We've got a very close grid here. It may only be 12 drivers, but you can see here and most of them are on par. Ben the Bear, he's doing his usual, trying to control that race from the front, starting to break away a little bit from Mikau, who's looking to break away from Sandeezy. But other than that, we've got a fairly tight grid here. Emzo's still lurking. Just lurking behind this Ferrari, Alex.
Very, very close. Good exit out of Stabilo, but it's not good run out of Blanchimont. It seems like he had to slow down a little bit to not have any contact, any issue with that Ferrari of combined YouTuber. So at the moment, it seems like he has more pace, but is not able to unleash it.
Yeah, sometimes tire issues, but it's not an issue. It is Sid going past Cello into turn 1. What a move for the Renault. And can Remco Van Putten follow him past here? Get past the McLaren as well. He's losing a little bit of battery. There's not going to be enough space between Cello and the wall, though, for the Dutch driver to find his way through.
Very close. Seems like Cello using the energy, and Remco probably saving a little bit. And he's not, well, able to catch that McLaren, who is actually very speedy on that Camel Straight.
Yeah, a lot of straight line speed there, and we were just talking about that 7i and the sort of what do you choose to set up in a race like this. I think those with the wet setups are going to be feeling it now, but later in the race with the qualifying as well, they might have hurt themselves in the dry portions. Emzo's just got past Simdogger for P10. They're back into where they started this grid. Not too much positions swapped for a lot of these drivers, but for those who have swapped positions, it's mostly been either a very good or a very bad start as we sort of come into this mid portion. Cello, a big wobble as he comes through Fuon, and that lets Remco Van Putten straight up the inside. And now Captain of Gold is going to look to find his way through as well on the inside, coming through turn 13 into 14 now. And he's not finding a way past the McLaren yet, but it won't be too long, I think, if Cello makes another mistake like that one.
Yeah, and Rez meanwhile behind I think he really wants these drivers to battle, but not that much because they're losing a lot of, well, a lot of seconds to Remco. Now Captain on the inside, a wheel on the grass there before Blanchimon. He has to lift, and now he goes wide there on turn 17, I think, turn 18. He logs up both wheels, and Rez will try to take a look there.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement down at the bottom here. Sim Dogger's had a problem through the hairpin of the chicane. He is missing an end plate on that Renault. And it's so unfortunate for him. Sid right now looking to put pressure on Sandisi as they come through. On Rouge and Radillion. Right now, nothing doing for the Renault through there, but now ERS being really burnt off. You can see the ERS advantage that Sandisi's got. He's not using to deploy it now. There it goes. And he does it at just the right time to hold him off. Captain Goldcello. These two, they've been battling for quite some time now. And it's Captain dropping down into 7th place. He has failed to maintain that 6th position from the McLaren driver. As they come out of, oh my goodness, Rez a big snap, and that lets combined GGBS straight past, and Rez nearly runs straight into the back of the Ferrari. Has to take avoiding action. He wasn't expecting him to be there. In these conditions, playing with these drivers, Alex.
Yeah, now Matt very close to Enzo, going wide there on No Name, but at the moment, I don't know if Matt has more pace because Enzo right now is dropping a little bit from Rez. Probably, I think he had a snap of oversteer on Puan 2 laps before. Oh, he has damage actually. He has damage on the front left end plate, so that is costing time to the McLaren.
Absolutely, he will be, feeling that. But with the tyre strategy here, and how long this lap is it looks like Remco Van Putten, what a run he's got on the Renault. They're side by side coming through turn out of turn 16 now through Blanchimont. It's Sid who's managed to retain the position, but he's gone wide. Remco Van Putten, he looks for it now. He's going to try it around the outside of the bus stop chicane. Can he find the move for P4? He can. What a move from the Dutch driver. Sid, has he got any response to this on the exit of the chicane down towards turn 1? He is side by side. These guys have burnt through so much battery. Sid in particular puts himself on the outside of Remco Van Putten. Remco Van Putten, I think absolutely none of it. They both go wide. They're both off of the track onto the curbing. Where's Cello? He's still too far to make any advantages from this, but Sid drops to B5. He's now right on the rear of Remco. Doesn't want to go side by side through a Rouge, especially not in these conditions, but you don't want to do it in the dry anyway. But look at the run he's got out of there. Absolutely flying as they come now onto the Kemmel Straight, and Remco Van Putten has nothing to do but just sit and watch as P4 goes back to Sid.
What an amazing battle out of Blanchimont. Remco saved it massively, as well as Sid did on the exit of bus stop. Right now Sid pushing to put that gap down between him and the podium. Around it's 1.3 after that battling, but I think they both have more pace than Sandisi, who has a mistake there on No Name. He's drifting it. Oh, he has to cut it. But at the moment he lost almost 1 second, and Sid will try to take that place. He's right now up into the podium before Puan. He will try it on the inside, but it's very dangerous. There's contact. And Remco. Oh, Remco has to avoid it. He doesn't have damage. But Sid is around, and now he will be down into P8 and probably even P9 if Rez can take a place as well there before Campus on 13 and 14. But it seems like Sid will drop into P8.
Well, not a good time to be Sid there, just getting caught, trying to make the move, and well, he's got no damage, so he's got that to, hold him and keep him in this race. P8 right now, still points on the table for him, and anything could go his way, safety car, that kind of thing. Incidents up ahead, still a long way to go. We're only on lap 4 of 22 as Ben crosses onto lap 5, but he and Mikkel have just sort of danced away up at the front. There's Remco. He was chasing Sid. He's now chasing Sandisi for P3. That battle for the podium. Rez is into the pit lane, the Red Bull driver.
I don't know if he has damage, but he has the battery was already on red when he was on second sector, but it seems like he's going to the pits and going for the intermediates. We will see the gap if with Emso, I think he's just behind, or probably the gap with Simdaga. But I really don't know if it's for intermediates. Can be, because the rain is not that heavier at the moment.
Well, rain isn't heavy, but there's still definitely standing water out on this track, but there will be a dry line forming, so it's a risk. He hasn't got, you know, too much to lose, but at the same time, this early on in the race, gambles, they don't always pay off, so we'll see how he goes, especially around Spa. It's a long track.
He's going faster. I think this is a good call at the moment. Of course, he's on Camel Straight, and the intermediates normally have more straight line speed. We'll see on this sector, so he drifts a little bit there on last comes, but it seems like he's gaining time at the moment. So Simdaga right now on P10, and yeah, I think it's a good call.
Well, Simdogger does have damage, so we'll see, but he doesn't seem to be struggling too badly on those intermediates. We'll just see how he goes. It's an excellent test, especially for those who have got race engineers. They'll be getting told that it's almost that crossover point for the intermediate tires. Remco right now on the rear of Sandisi. He's using a little bit of that battery. We've seen Sandisi already. He's been playing that battery absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, Rez was gaining time on Ben, so it was not on Sindaga, but on Ben as well. So they are pitting. Everyone is pitting there in the top 4. This is for intermediates at the moment, not raining that much, and of course there's standing water, as I said, but I don't think it should be enough. Now combines the YouTuber. I think he oversucceed before the pit lane entry, if I'm not mistaken, and everyone is pitting. So double stack for Captain Goal, and I think a double stack as well for Sid. Sorry, Simdaga probably.
Yeah, and if you're in these sort of double stack positions, it's not ideal for anyone involved. Let's see, where does Captain Gold come out? You know, it's happened to him before. It looks like it's going to be a strong P6. Where's Rez in all of this? The undercut might have come out beautifully for him. He's going to be right behind everyone here. There's goodbye YouTuber on the inside. Rez just breezing by him with ERS down towards the Eau Rouge de Dillon complex. And we know that it's drying up. We know that the race is going to continue to dry up. So this is the first tire swap. Let's see if we get another one to the slicks later on in the race.
And not only that, but Rez now, he has been he has one more lap on those inters, so he should know a little bit more than the other drivers, which is the grip that you will find here on this corner. So probably he can take a good run on this lap. Meanwhile, the other drivers are still getting used to it.
Yeah, well, there is our first pit window of the session. You can see Rez there going a little bit wide through 11. So he might have the knowledge, but let's see if he's got the consistency to keep up the position. We saw him breeze past and wide. YouTubers combined came out of the pit lane. Right now, just lagging a little bit in terms of pace. Now everyone else is on the intermediate tires, but his pace or his strategy is definitely there. And you can see it is clearing up now. The standing water is starting to really dissipate as we come on to lap 7 in just a moment here. Remco Van Putten, he's not too far off Sandisi. He was having a little bit of a shaky exit through 18. I think that Remco could take advantage of that. There's a yellow flag. It looks like Simdogger's had a problem. Any damage on that Renault? It doesn't look like it.
Remco will try it. He's looking there. Oh, he's braking very late, and I think he actually had contact with the Racing Point now squeezing wide. The Racing Point on turn 1. Rez setting the fastest lap, of course. He was the first on those inters, but Remco right now is up in Super 3. I don't know how legal that was, but Sandisi will try to take it back again.
There, and here he goes, side by side with the Red Bull driver. And like you said, the legality of that overtake. You never know. Sid, he's going to try and do what Sandisi's just done. This time it's on a Mercedes, though. Captain in gold, the one in question around the outside, late braking for the Renault. What a bit of driving we're seeing here from him. A recovery drive he needs. And a recovery drive is what he's undertaking right now up into P6. He was fighting for those podium positions. A bit of a slide coming out of the late comms section, but he's up into the P6. He's not too far behind from where he was prior to that spin. We saw it here through Fuon.
Roman going a little bit wide there. I think that's a warning for the for the Red Bull. He was pushing very hard, and I think the DRCR probably pushed him wide a little bit on Puon. The downforce required was not probably the best of the optimal there for the Red Bull. and you can, of course, feel it when you're driving, that the car is understeering more than usual.
Yeah, and again, I think it all depends on the setup choices. Sandeezy, he's not had a good run out of 16 at all as they come down now to Blanchimont. Sandeezy, he's got a lot of straight line speed in that racing point, even without ERS, Alex. I don't know what setup he is running, but it is a good one. Ben the Bearer, 154.156. That's fastest lap of the race. Just proving that these conditions are getting ever better. I'm not sure if there was a tap there between Remco and Sandeezy. Remco is so hungry for that P3, that podium position, but he's just not finding it again. A bit later on the brakes this time. There's definitely no contact between the two. It was a little bit questionable last time around. This time a lot cleaner, and that's what you love to see as they come now.
I think he has the run, but Sandeezy, as you said, has a lot of straight line speed, so we'll see if he can, even wasting that DRS. Look, he's doing it. Both they are using it. Sandeezy doesn't need that much, and Remco just gave up on this lap because just look at the racing point, just flying on the Kimmel Straight.
Yeah, the exit out of Eau Rouge is just incredible for him, and Sandeezy right now just controlling that P3 position. Remco's had a few shots at it, but he's never been able to get past convincingly. Never for a long period of time either. And the Racing Point just holding on to that third place.
Yeah, right now it's very close. I think Remco just trying to be as tidy as he can, because Sandeezy, I think, is doing a little bit, probably more mistakes than the Red Bull. Can be a consequence of that straight line speed. Probably he is on lower wings and the car is more unstable on the corners of sector 2 as well. Remco almost drifting that turn 14. But probably that can be, a consequence of the setup and the low wings, because Sandeezy oh, Remco, what a save out of Stabalot. He saved it. Well, he is just shutting up my words like nothing. Probably Remco is actually struggling more than Sandeezy, as we have an exchange between Emzo and Simdaga there on the back. I think it was on Puan.
Yeah, some sort of problem, I think, for the Renault, as combined YouTuber, he's getting very close to the rear of the Red Bull of Rez. Needs to. That gap's not been too large over the last few laps. It's now smaller than the one between Remco and Sandeezy, so there could be an opportunity here for the Ferrari to find a way past the Red Bull driver. And Red Bulls, they're all in the action right now. The rest of the grid sort of spaced out a little bit throughout this grid. Spa, a long lap time, pretty punishing if you're not there. Remco, does he have the run this time on the Racing Point? It doesn't look like he does. Both have got that yellow fuel warning light on. So neither of them will be exchanging. Combined YouTuber looks like he's too far back on Rez to do anything. He's using a bit of battery to try and catch up to that Red Bull, but he's going to be far too far back coming into turn 7 to do anything about it.
It doesn't seem like Combine doesn't have the run on Rez, and probably Rez having more straight speed. I think it's the same thing that happens with Sandeezy and Remco.
Well, Remco might have the run here. Look at his pace coming through full on. No run, and the wet weather conditions here are just causing him problems. I think if this was dry, I think he would be in a much better place. He'd be in a much better footing to get an overtake done. We saw a couple of moves throughout the week here at MRL. Down into that turn 13, just up the inside, and really hammering it down now. Coming out of the... Oh my goodness, what a spin! The Red Bull is off. He's just caught it before the wall. Just about.
Shaw as well. Oh, everyone is struggling there. I think there's damage for the McLaren as well. Sorry to interrupt their Unicorn, but I think the McLaren has damage there on the front
damage.
right. Oh yeah, he will be limping back to the pits, I think.
But what a save from Remco. The full 360 ahead of the wall. It gave me real Max Verstappen Brazil vibes, just dancing with the retirement, but he doesn't. He's lost the position. He's lost a lot of time. About 5 seconds to, well, probably more than that. Probably about 6 seconds to Sandeezy. And now Sid is between them. And Sid, well, he's back up into P4, which is where he was before the spin. He's a little bit further down again, a bit like Remco, but My, oh my, what a little bit of drama we've seen there. Approaching the halfway point. Captain of Gold, what a run. He's gone into the rear of Remco Van Buren. There is a massive crash. And this time, Remco Van Buren cannot avoid the wall. There is nothing he could do there. He's pulled off. He's letting everyone by just so that he can stay safe. You can see that he's just stopped so that Matt sees where he is. There's very clear intentions on the Red Bull. Well, that is an actually huge crash here. And we have a safety car, Alex.
I think I really don't know what happened. See the drive-through under safety car for speeding, because we have a safety car, as you said, I think. Remco without end plates. I really don't know what happened. Probably miscommunication. Probably someone, probably Captain thought Remco was going to defend another part, and then probably a change of direction, probably lag as well. I really don't know what happened there. But then Remco went through the Mercedes after that spin, and I actually think that probably was the cause of the no DNF for him. Right now, safety car, and it's raining still, so I really don't know how much of a gamble should be putting mediums, but Shello has done that. And probably, well, now with this safety car, he has the opportunity to put on intermediates again.
Well, that's a very, very risky gamble. The mediums right now, you've got Ben the Bear staying out right here. I don't think it's going to be the right call. It's still raining here, so it's not like we're expecting it to dry up in the next few moments. The thing is, it's a long lap under the safety car. If it stays up for long enough, then maybe we do see it. But there's still a little bit of spray as we're on board with Ben the Bear, someone who we have not looked at since this race began. He has just been running away at the front. There's Meko behind him. He's been doing a similar thing in P2. But it is drying up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has to go to the pits.
Well, he has to come in for a wing change. So what does he go for? What tires?
Almost pitting there. I really don't know.
Are those softs? They are.
What? Yeah, those are softs. Probably there's res as well on the medium, speeding, combined YouTubers speeding, Remco speeding of course for a new wing. We will see what the Red Bull does. But seems like combined YouTuber for new intermediate tires, Remco for mediums. Oh, this is quite a gamble, huh?
Well, the more of them do it, the less risky that gamble becomes. My mind wanders to, you know, France earlier in the season when we saw, I think it was Tier 2, with that huge problem where half of the grid went for the wrong tires, and it just wasn't the time. The safety car at that changeover position was the wrong time. So either half the grid here has made the mistake, or half the grid has made the mistake in the other half. So when it's this many people taking the same gamble, the risk is mitigated because you're not going to lose as many positions because there's some people on the same strategy as you. So if the slicks aren't the right tire, only 5 people are going to benefit from that out of 12. So whereas if the slicks are the right tire, only 5 people are going to lose out. Either way,
I mean, they have the weather report of their engineer, and probably they know when it's going to stop raining, because right now it's raining still, so shouldn't be the grip there for the dry compounds. Right now I'm on board with Remco. He's pushing a little bit to probably test how these mediums work, but doesn't seem like he's struggling that much. Of course he's on lower speed than normally, but well, I mean, of course there's a risk because it's raining still. The thing is, it's raining still. It's not even that it's drying up. Probably if there was no rain, everyone was going to go to the pits. But at the moment, I think should be very risky. But Remco doesn't seem like he's struggling that much.
Well, the track looked dry as a bone. There is no spray now, really. There's no standing water. As Remco, like you say, seemingly pushing. And, well, Ben's in. Yep, the leaders are in. They have just waited an extra lap. They are in.
This track is so large that there's sometimes in some sectors it's actually raining, but in others it's not raining. So we will see now because it's lap 12 from 22. And
Res might get a lead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, Citizen softs, but Res right now is on the lead. Yeah.
He's got him. He's got him. And Captain of Gold as well. He's going to be in P3. This is excellent news for Mercedes in the standings, excuse me. Because now, Captain of Gold on softs ahead of Mikau. Well, Ben seemingly had the pace around here anyway, but now Mikau's got a big problem with the Mercedes. Captain of Gold has been a valiant driver over in that squad. A great team player, a great driver as well. He has picked up, you know, multiple podiums here. 6 to be precise. And now he's sat right in front of Mikkel, something we have seen before. He's just had that issue with Remco Van Putten. And that might have been a blessing in disguise, Alex, because that sort of one lap earlier pit stop has worked out beautifully for him.
Yeah, I mean, but I really don't know these soft runners if they will go. I mean, of course, they will try to go to the end. Safety car should be in on, well, the first green flag should be, the first lap, sorry, of green flag should be lap 13. Right now we're on lap 12. Lap 13 should be the first on green flag. 10 laps of green flag should be, of course, if there's no more incidents. And the soft runners should be suffering a lot of wear there at the end. So right now, I really don't know which is the best strategy. Of course, the mediums is safer to go to the end. But we have 5 drivers right now on those soft compound, and I really don't know what they are trying to plan at the moment.
Well, only time will tell. Like you said, the safety car should be pulled in this lap. When we cross that timing line into Sector 3, we should see the race control message pop up in the bottom left. And fingers crossed that it does it. It will be Rez restarting this race in his first ever full-time race here in APAC, I believe, in that Red Bull seat, replacing PTR after last week's shenanigans. He is leading this race, leading the safety car restart here. Ben the Bear, championship leader behind him. Mikkel and Captain of Gold just behind them. Well, Captain of Gold and Mikkel in that order are behind them. The top 3 in the standings. Sand Easy as well. What a drive it's been from him today. He really seemed to thrive in those wet conditions. We'll see whether he can continue that great form into the dry here. Rez just controlling the pace. A fairly high safety car restart speed, but I think he's just going to do what we usually see and just send it out of the final corner. It's usually the best way to go about it.
Really
Separate the grid. There he goes. So we are back to green flag racing and Sand Easy. Well, he's already looking at Mikkel. You can see there the bus stop chicane really breaks things up on these safety car restarts as they come through now. Sand Easy ahead of Sid, but Sid's on those soft compound tires. What could the Renault driver do? Well, we've already got risks of, tyre wear at the end of this race for these soft runners. Battling is not what you want to do, but at the same time, track position is everything. And we'll see what happens. We've got a huge train behind.
He's on the double slipstream, but Sandisi has a lot of Chilean speed. He will try it on Mikkel. He's using that battery. He's going around the outside of Las Coms, but he's braking a little bit late. And Mikkel was already there, so he didn't have any space. But I think it's, fair, of course. Mikkel was already ahead, but Sandisi tried it when the space was not there. So at the moment, Sid will try it there on the soft. But he has a penalty of 3 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And right now, Mikkel is falling off on that DRS window against the Mercedes.
Yeah, absolutely. Here goes Remco Van Putten. Can he get the run on Enzo down into Fuon? A little bit of grass kicked up on the outside for the McLaren. And you can see there he's using ERS through Fuon. That is a little bit risky. You don't want to be losing traction through there. Ben has taken lead of things up at the front. And we'll see if Captain can follow him through in a moment. But it is this huge train down at the bottom. There is a big split in this grid right now. Remco Van Putten, he takes a time penalty for multiple warnings. Sand Easy, Sid, they're exchanging. Sid using those soft tires to work as he pushes now. Can he find himself back in those better positions? Captain of Gold, not too far behind Rez, who's still on the rear of Captain's teammate Ben the Bear.
Mika really pushing. He's there already. I think Captain is losing a little bit of time there with Rez, and of course with Ben overtaking Rez on that sector too. I think the gap's closed a little bit. And now Enzo really close on Cello, but he will not do the move, and Remco is still there behind, but he has a penalty, we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the lap times are going to start, we've just saw it there. Ben set the fastest lap of the race. Rez now, can he get a run on Ben the Bear? ERS enabled. Look at him go. He's flying down this Kemmel straight. Rez retakes lead of this race. Where is Ben the Bear, though? He's on the inside. He's going to take lead back from the Red Bull, but the Red Bull hangs on up the inside of 8 through 9. And Ben the Bear drops to P2. There is a big gaggle of cars behind them. Look at the positions. Mikkel finds Captain of Gold up the inside, down into turn 10. What a move from the Australian. You have got to say, if there's one thing that you'll love to see, Mikkel and his opportunistic moves. He is just so excellent at picking off these moves, and he's found another one here today. Turn 10 on Captain of Gold. What a move from him, and up into P3 he goes.
That was amazing from Mika, opportunistic as you always like to see the Australian driver right now up into P3 and trying to take a look there on the leaders because Ben lost that lead and Rest hold it so good there on last comms. And at the moment, well, he's leading and Ben, of course, he has the pace and he has more battery, but doesn't seem like he's bringing it now. But well, now using that overtake button, he's really close as well as Sid on the inside of Captain Goal. Then before Blonchimon, they are side by side still. There's no, oh, they're banging wheels there at the moment. They're on the exit of Blonchimon, but Sid is up into P4 and Ben is still behind Rez.
Captain of Gold now under pressure from Sandeezy. And Sandeezy, he's found it. Sid's coming into the pit lane. DRS enabled for the first time in this race. So Sid's serving a drive-through. I think he got that for speeding under the safety car very, very early on. Someone I think came across in chat to tell us that it was about 3 seconds. He got that. Captain of Gold might have struggled coming out of turn 1 right now. And there goes Sandeezy breezing past the Mercedes driver to retake P4. Sandeezy right now, he had pace in that wet section. We're not seeing the same here. But Ben the Pair, here he goes. ERS, DRS to get back past Rez for leading things. To look at the pace down the Kemmel straight. Can Mikau follow him through right now? Captain of Gold, Sandeezy, they're exchanging. Captain of Gold back into P4. This is a battle that's been going on for quite some time now since that safety car restart. And now it looks like it might just end with the checkered flag, depending on if Captain's tyres can hold on. We'll see how it goes. Captain with a bit of a lock-up through turn 10. Sandeezy manages to hold on. What a performance. These guys are putting on a bit of a show for us right now. But this race is really spiced up, Alex.
will suffer a lot on those softs. Huh? I think those softs will not hold that much on the Mercedes because, I mean, we probably can see a puncture there for the Mercedes driver because right now he's pushing so hard on these laps. I think he was, well, the plan probably was having to conserve these tires because he had the DRS. Well, Mika was not on DRS 2 laps ago, sorry. And now, well, Mika is just ahead of him. And now he has to push or just conserve the tires to go to the end.
Well, conservation really needs to be in his mind because you can't, you know, if he pushes Mikau, has a bit of a problem coming into turn 19, the first of the 2 corners in the last laps game. Ben continuing to improve upon lap times. He's got his gap now. He has put a gap of 1.4 seconds between him and Rez. Mikau will have DRS down the Kemmel straight on the Red Bull driver. You can see him now already prepping for that moment overtake, just to bring himself ever closer to the Red Bull, the sister car to the AlphaTauri now as they come through Eau Rouge Rodillion. Here goes Mikau, ERS, even before the timing line, or the DRS line, I should say. He's got that place done and dusted, but well, he still uses DRS just to ease his way through. Fastest sector 1 of the race for the Australian driver. And I'll be happy with that one. DRS helping him out massively for them.
Now Captain closing the gap as Rez did a mistake out of last comms. So it seems like Rez probably struggling a little bit with the pace of the leaders. 1.8 is right now the difference between Ben and Mika as Mika goes really wide on no name. I think that should be a warning, probably awarded by the stewards in-game. But at the moment, seems like Rez still on DRS zone, but probably he will lose it there on the exit, well, on the final part of Sector 2 and entering Sector 3. Oh! Ben has a penalty!
Well, it's not something we haven't seen before, and when you're pushing as much as he is right now, 3 seconds for the championship leader. He's got 2.3 seconds gap between him and Mikau already. I would be surprised if that penalty cost him, but if he picks up another, that's when he might start to have problems. But we'll see if it does, in fact, impact the race at the tail end of things. Like you said, Captain of Gold, he's really finding some time on the cars ahead, but he needs to keep pushing on tires that he can't really afford to keep pushing on, so he's putting himself in a tricky situation on those slots. But look at the sun now, Alex. It is shining here in Belgium. If you're just joining us, welcome. It's the APAC Division 1 on lap 17 of 22 here. The final F1 race we've got this week. F2 will be tonight here in the UK and Europe, of course, and late afternoon or early afternoon for those in America. But here in the APAC Division, we thank you very much for watching. A big shout out to our partners as well, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rigs, wheel stand, that kind of thing, check them out in the link in the chat or the panels down below.
I think Captain is gaining, but not that much. Seems like Rez is holding their pace very good, and should be a podium for the, Rez on his debut as a full-time driver on Red Bull, replacing PTR if I'm not mistaken. And right now Rez doing a very good job, I think, for Christian Horner and of course Jake on the chat, who should be engineering these drivers, I think. And I think, well, very good job, as I said.
Oh, it's been an issue. Who is that? It's Sid. Well, he's had an up and down race, and I think, well, that is a certain down in this one. He is all the way down into 11th place. Both Renaults right now. Only one of them, with Sid being the full-time driver.
And Mikau getting a penalty as well.
Now that is a problem for Mikau. Unlike Ben, he has not got a gap right now. 1.2 seconds is not enough, and he's got 5 seconds to extend. 1.8 to Rez. It's not impossible, but it's going to be tricky.
Cello very tight on Matt. Matt at the moment, I think, has 3 second time penalty, yes. So he's right now holding that P6 on track, but should be at P7. When he crosses the line, Emzo should be pushing a lot there to catch and put that gap down between him and Matt. But right now, Cello, I think he will try it there after Rallion. He's pushing that ERS, but Matt is just vibing with that energy right now. Capsan before Cello, he will do the move on Camel straight on up into P3 and now pushing to make that a 1-2 for Mercedes.
Yeah, Captain, I don't know whether he'll be able to secure the position, but I don't know if that's the right call. Because if he doesn't have the tyres, he doesn't want to be fighting with Rez when he could let Rez try and just hurt Mick in terms of the penalty. But we'll see how it pans out for him. Like you say, Matt, he loses the position to Cello, but he's still on for his best ever finish here in the APAC division. Only 2 points to his name right now in the standings. Let's see if he can maybe even more than double that here.
Really pushing now. Sandizi as well on that DRS window with Rez. I think Rez probably dropping a little bit, but he really wants to hold there because he wants to be there on the gap of 3 seconds between him and Mikau. But right now, it seems like 2.5 should be that gap at the moment. And 4 laps to go. He really needs to hold that half a second to keep that podium alive.
Yeah, Mikau, he's doing well to extend that gap, so I don't think he's actually going to be threatened by, these guys here. Captain Rez Sandizi, in terms of the penalty, he needs to make sure he's mistake free because he can't afford to lose any more time to them. He is steadily increasing it, but only by about, I'd say 2/10 on that lap with the overtake as well. And as that stands, he'll be about 2.8 by the time we cross the line. But Captain's tyres will fall off. Everyone else's tyres will fall off in line with Mikau's. So it's going to be close, I think. Mikau's got his work cut out, but it depends. Let's have a look at how much battery he's got.
Ooh, Matt and Cello really fighting there on last comes. Sorry to interrupt, but Matt is up into P6 again. Cello and Matt were side by side on last comes. That was very dangerous, and Cello almost losing the rear there, but now on the inside of Rochelle's, he will try it on those mediums. Seems like he has more grip, and he will take it there up into P6. And Matt, I don't really think he needs to fight this because he has to have eyes on his back with Emzo closing that gap. 0.9 is the difference to enter on that 3 second time. Well, on the penalty of Matt to lose that place, so he really needs to push and look behind rather than on Cello, who is now ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely, that penalty could really pose a threat to him and his race result. As this battle for P3 wages on, and the gap to Mikau has increased quite substantially over the course of the last couple of sectors. Is Matt going to go for it here? Down into the bus stop chicane. He's got a lot of pace coming down into it. He's ahead, late on the brakes for the Alfa Romeo. And what a move from Matt here. He is really driving that car.
Sandizi now on the inside on Lassur's on Rez, but I don't know if this is the most intelligent overtake. Now they have contact. Oh, I don't know who has the DRS right now, but they are side by side on a Rouge, and Rez will be just ahead on Rally Leon, but he doesn't have energy. Sandizi either. But now anyone has the DRS. Who has the DRS there? No one.
No, Matt's Rez has got it. Rez has got it. Rez has got it, but Sandeezy very late on the brakes. There's a bit of contact between the two. And he just gets himself ahead of Rez. Cello and Matt, they're exchanging again. Matt, he's round. Matt has spun. The Alfa Romeo, the McLaren of Enzo just sneaks past. And the hopes of Matt finishing in his best ever position might just be dwindling here. He's still on for points scoring positions, but he's down to 9th. We've seen them fighting so hard with each other. And we were saying that he really couldn't afford to, and that is exactly why. And Matt now drops to P9.
He has the points still. 4.4 is the gap with Remco, and Remco, I think, well, same penalties for both of them, so probably still can finish on the points if nothing happens major. Right now on lap 20, as Ben will cross on a brief moment to take that lap 21, and Captain, I think he's stretching the gap with Sandeezy, but not with Mika. Mika should be safe on that P2, and of course on that podium, obviously. And right now, Captain, I think, is looking more on Sandeezy, who doesn't have any penalties, and is really pushing hard on those mediums.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this one pans out, because now Mikau's gone. He has extended that 3-second gap. It's now 3.6, so he has worked some magic over the course of the last couple of laps to make sure that he is safe in that P2, and P2 is, you know, a position that he's, you know, usually sort of targeting when Ben is on his top level form, which he has been today. Here goes Reyes on Sandeezy. DRS down the Kemmel straight into Lake Coleman. Sandeezy very late on the brakes. A beautiful bit of defensive driving from him. Sandeezy today here in Spa has been on another level to where we've seen him in the past. He has, you know, been very impressive so far today, and well, if he could get a podium, it would be thoroughly deserved, but P4 as well. I'm sure he'd be happy with that one.
Having a look on Capstan tires at the moment. You can see the line of the graining there for the Mercedes on the softs. And I really don't know how much wear he has. Of course, he had those laps where it wasn't that hot, the track was not that hot, so he could preserve a little bit the tires, of course, with the safety car as well. So we will see how much tire wear he will have there. Well, we can ask him on the interview if he doesn't have a puncture, please. So right now he's in P3, and the gap is still good with Sandeezy. Of course, Mika pushing more with those mediums, able to do that, and well, Captain suffering a little bit.
Yeah, he has one lap to hold them off. We're here, lap 22 of 22 of this Belgian Grand Prix. Still every driver still in it. We haven't had a single retirement, which is good news considering only 12 drivers started it. There's been a yellow flag, though, down in Sector 3, and it looks like Sid is having another problem. We've had a few drivers into the wall. We've had a few things that...
He doesn't have fuel.
I don't know if we've ever seen that before. Someone running out of fuel. But he's got a lap to limp that car around.
Yeah, that's interesting. Rez very close on Sandeezy as we are on last lap of this race. Seems like Captain should be safe, at least on the gap. We'll see on the tires on this last sector. He should be nursing those softs. He has done 10 laps on them. At the moment, there's an exchange between Matt and... Ooh! There's massive contact.
Well, goodbye now. Dropping. He might even get taken by Remco Van Putten here. As you can see, their yellow flags popping up for the low fuel car of Sid as Remco sneaks up the inside at turn 10 to take the Ferrari. Meanwhile, back up in the fight for the podium position. Who is going to take P3 here? You've got Sandeezy pushing as hard as he can to try and find the captain of gold. He's really not going to be close enough to the bus stop chicane, I don't think, to get past the Mercedes. It's the other Mercedes, Ben the Bear, coming home in P1 for what I think might be a 6th week in a row. Let's go back down here. Captain of Gold is under real pressure from Sandeezy to the line now. Sandeezy having a big snap out on the traction zone. He doesn't get P3, but it was very close. Mikau in P2.
Remco and Matt side by side before Blanchimon. Matt just ahead of the Dutch driver on the Red Bull. as Remco almost loses the rear there. Combined YouTuber had damage there on that incident. Unless comes Remco trying to break as late as he can, but it will not be enough. Right now, Matt on P8. I think they both have the same amount of penalties. Right now, Matt will cross on P8. And yes, seems like Matt will finish there on the point, 4 points after both incidents he had there on last laps. Very unfortunate for him and as well for Combined YouTuber, who will be finishing there on the points as well. And both Reynolds without points today, the only drivers to not score any points.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. Simdogger obviously a reserve, and Sid running out of fuel there at the end. And well, what an interesting race we've had provided to us here. We've got Sid trundling down out of turn 16 at 100 miles per hour on the dot. His car can't go any faster. He's giving a little bit of a weave. I think he knows he's the only driver left. He's really struggling to keep that car going, but he wants to cross the line. It won't count as a DNF. He will finish on the same lap as everyone else as a result of Spa's long lap. And well, look at him just struggling here into the bus stop. He just doesn't want to stop with his car. Keep it rolling to the line now, out of the final corner. You can see there's just so little acceleration in it. But there he goes, Sid in the Renault crossing P12.
Well, he finished. Everyone finished today, so I'm happy to see that. Rest having the driver of the day awarded in game for him on his debut as a full-time for Red Bull. So very good, I think, race for him. He almost had that podium, but of course was dropping there after Mikau and Ben overtook him.
Well, there it is. Ben the Bear on the podium once more. I'm sure he'll be very, very happy with that one. Mikau there, P2. Ahead, behind in the standings, behind on the podium, and then third place in the standings. Captain of Gold there, right alongside his teammate. Another double podium for Mercedes. We've got Ben winning the race with fastest lap of 142.8, which was over a second faster than anyone else's fastest lap. He showed incredible pace here today. Mikau in P2. The penalty didn't stop him in the end of things. The Australian takes P2, and his fellow countryman, Captain of Gold, finishes third place from fifth on the grid as well. And with that spin, or that incident with Remco, you got to say it's pretty impressive for him to have established himself in third place. Sand Easy, what a drive from him today, 4th to 4th, but he had a lot of interesting battles, a lot of pace as well, especially in that wet weather section of the race. Rez in P5 for the Red Bull in his debut drive, 3 places gained. Then we have Cello in P6, and McLaren, his teammate, behind him in 7th. Cello lost 3, Emzo gained 3. Matt from 12th to 8th. I think that is his best ever finish here in APAC. Remco in 9th, Combined YouTuber rounds out the point scoring finishes in 10th for Ferrari. Then Simdogger reserving for Renault in 11th, and Sid running out of fuel picks up P12. So what a race. We'll have interviews in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, and then of course I think we'll have time to raid a member of the F1 community before the real life F1 kicks off, so we will do so. But yeah, we'll get some interviews going in just a moment. We do have all 3 of the drivers, so first and foremost, Captain of Gold, Captain, that was a very, very dramatic race for you in particular. How are you feeling after that one?
I don't know how to feel after that one, to be honest. That was a super bizarre race. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of just lost for words what kind of just happened, but yeah, I mean, good result in the end. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the incident reports, but I think, yeah, good result for me, good result for the team.
Yeah, well, we saw, obviously the wet weather conditions playing with everyone. And then as we come to that sort of second sort of switch over point, you have that incident. You've just mentioned it there. That big crash. Amazingly, neither of you retired from the race. You both got out of it pretty scot-free. And in some ways, do you think it helped you because you pitted that lap earlier and you gained a lot of positions under that safety car when the top 4 didn't pit for the slick tyres on that first lap of the safety car?
Well, it certainly, yeah, definitely helped me. So that was very lucky. I mean, as you said, none of us DNF, so just Cody's things with the safety car. But yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty fortunate to fall for that to fall into my hands. So I mean, yeah, I mean, at that stage, I really thought P2 was on the cards, but we had Rez putting up a good defense against me and Ben. Then I just let Mick slip, so it is what it is. I mean, and I didn't really want to afford to catch Mick because I was on 2 warnings and I didn't want to get another one. Costs us the podium. So yeah.
Yeah, and final question: the softs. They were a bold choice. We saw a few people go for them. How were they feeling? What sort of percentage were they on? And were you worried that that tire wear, whatever it may be, was going to cost you the position to stand easy behind?
Yeah, I wasn't really worried about them until the last lap where I'm crossing the line for lap 22 and I see they're just knocking on the 70% door. So I'm just like, oh no. But I mean, obviously I just had to keep on pushing. But then, yeah, they pretty much wore our Stavilo on the last lap and I didn't have much ERS to defend with. But luckily I had the gap to Sandeezy, so yeah, that was pretty bang on timing with the with them sorry, I'm having mind blanks. Yeah, with them dropping off just at that point.
Well, Captain, as always, congratulations on another podium. Thank you, as always, as well, for taking the time out to interview. We'll let you go now. Very, very dramatic race. I'm sure you want to rest after that one, but again, congratulations on the recovery drive.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
All right, and then P2, we come to Mikal. Mikal, a dramatic race for most there. You managed to sort of wade your way through it, keep yourself ahead in the opening stages. How does it feel, P2, after that one?
Oh, thank you. It feels pretty good. No, it was a solid day from outside of the garage. Unfortunate that I was running solo today, but things pop up. Yeah, ran a setup that I wasn't too comfortable with. I hadn't had a whole lot of practice with it. And the conditions were not great at the start of the race. Just not knowing how much grip there is in the tires through Eau Rouge and Radillon. But no, a good result. A bit of a scare when I had to pass Captain the goal and I just didn't have the straight line speed. But it all worked out in the end and was able to push to build the gap to the 3-second gap that I needed after I got my penalty.
Yeah, well, first thing I want to talk to you about is the safety car, the sort of second transfer window between the intermediates and the slicks. We saw Ben, yourself, and a couple of other drivers stay out on the intermediates 1 lap longer. Were you intending to stay out on the intermediates for the safety car restart, or was that just to extend the tires an extra lap? What was sort of the thought process there? Because it cost a few of you a few positions behind.
I'll be honest, the game plan was to copy Ben, and Ben stayed out, so I stayed out, and then we both realized that we had made a mistake. Luckily, Ben was able to get ahead of his teammate, but I wasn't as fortunate, but still starting from 4th. There was a bit of confusion actually with the tires, someone on softs, someone on mediums, but I feel like we made the correct call in the end to go for the yellow wall tires.
Yeah, I think Alex and I were, thinking that the softs in particular, very risky choice. They just about made it to the end, but one thing as well, that overtake down into turn 10, you just mentioned it there on Captain. It was such a brilliant move. There was a lot of cars going into that corner. I think it was about 5 cars, 2 wide, 1 behind. What was that overtake like? What was going through your head in that moment? Because it could have ended very poorly for a lot of you there if it had gone wrong.
I was just like, this is the opportunity I have to pass Captain, because we just didn't have the straight line speed today for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it was just like down to, it must be down to setup. I don't know what the Mercedes guys were running, but they were very, very slippery in a straight line. Yeah, it was a lot of cars, a lot of action, but it was quite thrilling as well, to be honest. And yeah, it was a very important move to make when I did.
Yeah, and also, P2, Italy next week. What are your thoughts? Monza, do you like it? Do you love it? Hate it? Ben, how are you feeling? What do you think sort of competitive edge you've got around the Temple of Speed?
Monza, not one of my strongest tracks. It certainly will be quite a struggle to hold on to that runner-up spot in that race. I'm sure we'll have at least a little bit of pace, but it is going to be tough. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens next week.
Well, Mick, as always, thank you for coming for the interview. Another congratulations on another podium, and we'll see you next week in Monza.
Thanks, guys.
Last but by no means least, for the 6th week in a row, Ben the Bear. Ben, 6 race wins in a row. How are you feeling after that one?
That was crazy. I think it was a really fun race. I enjoyed that a lot.
Well, from qualifying, absolutely dominant, particularly in the first half. I think you were ahead by about 1.8 seconds or something. That gap got closed by Mikau in the later stages, but qualifying was on. And then at the start of the race, you just flew away. Where did you find pace? What sort of setup? Were you running a setup that was more attuned to the rain rather than the dry, or what was going on there? Or is it just that you've got sheer pace here at Spa?
First of all, thank you, Unicorn, for for that. It was mixed. It was on the race thing. It said it's gonna be raining at the beginning of the race and then slowly dropping off into the dries at the end. So it was really just I think put on a bit more front wing for the dry setup, and I think it worked out actually quite well throughout the whole race. And once it dried up, I switched the front wing back to a dry setup, and it worked quite well from there.
Well, it certainly worked out well for you. We just asked Mick, but the tyre choice, or the not tyre choice, not coming in under that safety car the first lap, what was your decision process behind that? Were you planning to stay out on inters, or did you just want the mediums to be one lap fresher at the end of the race?
It was actually a guess. I saw people pitting, but my race engineer didn't say anything, so I decided to stay out. I didn't expect it to be that crucial lap, but might as well. But still got out ahead of, I think, Mick. That was the crucial thing, and then I think it took it from there.
Yeah, and when you saw Rez ahead of you on that safety car restart, were you worried that was gonna sort of slow you down in that second portion of the race, or were you confident in the pace you'd had in the first half that you could just get past him, build that gap up again, and the penalty as well, you had to extend that gap, but that was seemingly fairly easy for you. How, talk us through that sort of second half of the race.
I think, so after Rez got the jump on me and Mick out, and probably like the whole of the field, what was going through my mind was that, I had to make it quick. I had to just fly past him, because if Mick was able to make a move before I was on Rez, Mick has a really good race pace, every weekend till now. So I think, my brain was telling me just to get past him. That's all. I don't know much more. And then just build the gap. That's what my mentality was.
Well, Ben, 6 wins in a row. Monza next week. How do you feel about the Temple of Speed? Are you confident around there? What's sort of your game plan going into that one?
Monza, not my favorite track. I'll tell you that. I think just do probably my game plan is just to do a tiny bit of practice, fine tune the setup, and probably just keep going. That's all I can say.
Well, Ben, thank you as always for interviewing here. A huge congratulations on your 6th in a row, and we'll see if you can make it 7th this time next week around Monza.
Thanks.
All right, and that just about wraps it up here for the APAC division. Alex, that was a very, very dramatic race. Any closing remarks before we go ahead and raid a member of the F1 community?
APAC never disappoints. I think it's always the action of these drivers who always bring it there on the track that, well, make us really like these races. And I think Italy will be more the same as we have seen on Hungary, on as well Spa today, and well, of course, expecting to be there, even commentating or either watching there on the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a big thank you to you for stepping up and joining me here for the commentary. A big shout out as well to everyone who's joined, watched this race. That was a very, very dramatic end to the F1 action here at Spa. We will have F2 tonight. That'll be myself and Alex on the YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed over there, please do go ahead. Not only do we stream the F2 races on a Sunday evening here in Europe, but also we have all the race replays and highlights, as well as track guides, a few meme videos. It's all over there, as well as all of our other social medias, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of that good stuff, as well as a big shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, stand, that kind of thing, be sure to check them out in the link in the chat or the panels down below. But until F2, that's all from us. Enjoy the Formula 1 Portuguese Grand Prix that's on in about an hour's time. But that's all from us here at MRL until F2. So a big shout out to everyone who watched. Thank you all, and we'll see you in the next one.